Even as the Parliament gets set to discuss and debate the Women Reservation Bill, we here at News9 are keeping our focus on it. And now joining us is Dr. Sujata Seshadrinathan, co-founder and Director Digital Marketing of Basis Fund Services. Dr. Sujata Seshadrinathan, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on News9. Before we go any further, I want to understand what was it like when you heard the fact that we're finally moving ahead with this, something that could have happened a decade ago, 2 decades ago. Finally, there is now an effort to push this through in time for the next Lok Sabha elections. As a woman who's been in corporate India for so long and has received so many accolades and continue to do so, what were the first thoughts on your mind?
For having me here on News9. And I love being here at this juncture when this very critical thing is going to be happening in our country. I'm very thankful that I get an opportunity to speak about it. This could have happened long back, but I'm happy that it's happening at least now. There's both a happiness and a tinge of sadness to it, because I wonder why it didn't happen when it was presented first time. Why did it not go through? What was the problem? Is it that people are scared that there are many women out there like me who can speak and who speak the truth? We are empowered. And the danger with Indian women is that we never came unempowered. It was a myth that Indian women are suppressed. Don't forget, we held the Chavi Ka Guchha. So are you really telling us that we are going to be able to contribute so much that you chose to keep us out? I don't know. But whatever it is very, very important that we get us there. Indian women have made a mark in almost all lines of commercial existence. We have proved ourselves equal to every task that has been given to us. ISRO is full of us. So why not the parliament also? It is sad that we need a reservation in order to establish our right to be there. But yes, if that's the way it's going to work, then that's the way it is going to work. And I'm very happy that we are at the threshold of making it happen now.
We are in an election season right now, and especially in the last few election seasons, we've seen the women vote turn the tide or be the deciding factor in terms of who comes to power. It's important that it doesn't remain at the women voter level, isn't it? Women need people to vote for, and that's what this entire effort is all about, that representation in the parliament, and it's not just parliament, it's also state legislative assemblies as well. Representation in politics could have serious ripple effects for women's empowerment in society as a whole, isn't it? It could translate into more boardroom seats eventually.
It is as I said, it's great that the Indian women have been empowered and are representing us in all fields now. And therefore, we are now intelligent and also discerning enough to be exerting our opinions as well as votes in the right direction, which is why you see that we are turning up at electorates more. We are informed. We know what's happening. We know whom we want to choose and the reasons why we want to choose them. Do we owe it all in good measure to social media and digital transformation happening in the rural areas? We have a government there which has managed to reach the digital processes to the rural areas. They have got electricity there. So therefore, people are also more informed. They have access to more information now. And women are learning. We are very fast learners. So, I always say, unlike men, we are actually natural multitaskers. So we did learn all this very fast. We are establishing our positions. We are now able to also articulate our opinions in the right forum and in the right way. All this put together, we can see us being represented. I mean, I'm pretty sad when the board seat is filled just for the sake of it with a woman member, rather than a seat that is filled by a woman member by a woman director who actually can contribute. Slowly, we are moving towards the second thing now. We are having a lot of women who can contribute, who are erudite, educated, well-informed, master of their own destinies and choices.
No, absolutely. And we've seen that across sectors, isn't it? From aviation to corporate finance, you've seen, women take charge and take the lead across sectors. politics is probably the one sphere where, we've had a woman prime minister in this country before. And strangely, India had a woman prime minister before many other countries in the world. For example, the US is yet to have a woman president, but India had a woman prime minister long ago. But we still have a long way to go, isn't it? And even this policy right now, what is being, the draft bill at least says this is meant for a 15-year period, after which, there will be a reconsideration of the policy. But that 15-year period is going to be crucial. That 15-year period is going to change the way Indian politics operates. It would have more women staffing political parties to start with, and then that would have ripple effects across the board in terms of how women are viewed when it comes to administration per se.
So, that's how women moved in all fields, right? Whether it was tech made a huge difference to us. But if you go a little behind and see, we were there all over the place in public sector units like banks and insurance. We have been huge players in it. And slowly, as things progress, if you take a look at it, tech companies as well as insurance companies, banks, we have reached the top. So it is only a matter of time, and this opportunity being given now. So if you were to take a look at even my own profile, we have grown as India grew. So that is now growing in parallel in politics also. The opportunities as well as the right environment for it to happen are both coinciding. So we will naturally come to a meeting point where there will be a situation where women will be comfortable. So both have to occur. When does, for instance, in my own line, when does innovation occur? When there is an opportunity as well as an environment for that innovation to occur, like I did with my the patented software called MasterDraft, because the right environment was there, the requirement was there, and we put the two together.
Right.
So the same thing is going to happen with women. We have all the necessary groundwork laid out now. Information is with us. We will feel safe about participating soon. When this kind of reservation comes up, we are now sure that there's someone watching out, and that position will be ours by right. You cannot play, again using the same word, politics, and keep us out of that position, because therein you will have to have one of us. I'm sure there will be some pushing and prodding needed. I'm sure there will be some universities who will come up with courses that can teach lower level. I'm not talking about the IAS level, but public administration, civil services, how they work. That is not something that many of us know, except people who choose to study it as a specialization in college. So if that knowledge also percolates down to the grassroots level, there will be naturally more women who will be willing to have their say in the political arena also. So as I say always, women will take up those positions where they know they will be heard. So that is the main thing. Now that we are in a position where we are going to be chosen, and therefore we better be heard. And the parliament, as we see now, is functioning beautifully. All the previous history that we had of not very parliamentary behavior is slowly phasing out. There are cameras everywhere, so therefore our speeches are recorded, our voices are heard. That is also some information that has come down to the public, that we are safe there, we are going to be heard there. We are coming informed. Those seats are reserved for us, and we are going to get our say. I'm personally waiting for Modi ji's speech tomorrow to get clarity on exactly what I'm sure he is going to express. Expectations out of the women who are going to get elected, that will come up tomorrow. And then naturally, political parties are going to go seeking those women who will be able to get down to the role, and with all diligence they will be able to persevere enough to be able to be political representatives of the people.
Dr. Sujata, I also wanted to ask you this, the talk and the politics around it. The opposition has said that they don't oppose the women's reservation bill. Obviously, nobody opposes the women's reservation bill, but there is lots of talk about how linking it with the delimitation, which is a larger process, which takes more time, which involves a different kind of set of issues, is being linked with the women's reservation bill. And you're also somebody from Mumbai. Talk to us. Every state is concerned, in terms of what delimitation could do to their political representation.
Do we have another option? I was reading up about delimitation. when I was reading about delimitation, I realized that the non-delimitation environment that we have right now is not exactly representative of the population and demography as it is today. We are a little bit disconnected with the reality as far as the electoral processes that will get corrected through delimitation are involved. So I do believe that delimitation may see it's nothing is going. It's a huge exercise. Even women stepping into politics at 30% is going to be a huge exercise because we are in a very small number now.
Yeah.
I don't think these things are going to happen without a blip. There will be starting troubles. There are going to be people who are going to oppose everything, whether for the right of whether for the wrong. Okay, we don't oppose women coming into the women's reservation. Then why did you not vote for it? So there are going to be people who oppose. I'm sure when they see the merit of the system and when they see that this is the right thing to do, because as I said, reality is far removed from what as it is being represented. We really do not have too many choices, because if you want to engage with the younger crowd henceforth and not just have your 60 plus people running the governments, then you need to do certain things which are up to date. You need to bring the processes to world standard levels, and we cannot be disconnected with the demographic details, the consensus details. These are going to be very important to the electorate henceforth, because systems have become very, very open and systems have become very linear and clear. Therefore, data regarding everything is available. I mean, when banks and private players from the tech field can have such huge databases, governments obviously are going to have bigger databases, right? So let us use the database. Let us do that what is right. You may not be able to convince everyone at the first round itself, but I'm sure the majority of us are seeing merits of this system. We will support this system, and the others who are opposing will eventually come around. Or if their opposition points are right, probably they will get incorporated and correct the wrongs that were, any system could have some blips. That blips will get corrected through the opposition. That's also possible.
Yeah, and that's the hope over here, because the questions are being raised not on the final outcome. Fair, no, there's absolutely no debate when it comes to the final outcome. Women deserve their place in the table more than 33% ideally, but 33% is a good place to start, is what you would say, isn't it? 33% is not the end goal, but like a good starting point.
The process should happen organically.
Yeah.
I'm personally against the system of reserving anything. I mean, I wouldn't go and sit on a seat that is reserved for a woman just
Okay.
because you're a woman and sit there. No, that is not something very healthy in the long run. But in the short run, in order to beat this inertia and get us into the system, 33% is a good enough number. And if it is going to be that we have to fill up those seats, we are going to get those opportunities, right? So for the initial push, let us say, comes through this reservation, and then maybe organic growth and organic participation, like how there was a time when there were seats reserved for women in schools and colleges, in education system. There are still, that still happens at places, but when that happened, women, it was a message to the society that women need to study, they need to come and fill those seats. Similar message may go to the society that women to this extent at least need to participate, because otherwise our voices and opinions, which is the voices and opinions of 50%, are not going to get recorded in the policies, and then nobody is to blame for it. So only when we participate will this happen, and maybe this reservation is the right way to give us a push out of that inertia, because I always believe the woman is not empowered or does not get to an access to her economic resources in the rural areas. In urban India, a woman chooses not to work. A woman chooses what she wants to do with her time. It is probably inertia here that keeps her away from economic activities, right? Unlike in the rural areas where they're actually participating, but they don't get paid for it.
Yeah,
So
because
urban
in fact,
inertia
their
as well
their
as rural
representation in Gram Panchayats, was brought about much before they could women could have a say in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, isn't it?
Exactly. So that is the place from where the push should begin, and it has rightly begun. That those are the people who need it, and they are being rightly pushed. Believe me, the knowledge they come with, because they know the grassroots level, at the rural level, at the India still lives in its villages, in its farms. So what knowledge they bring, we cannot keep that knowledge away from the economics of a country, from the policies of a country. If they are not represented, And if women are representing them, even better. You get the actual emotional knowledge that comes from there. And therefore, the policy making can be efficient and effectively fine tuned to that extent, is what I believe. And this kind of 33% reservation probably, as I said, I am against reservation for anything, but because I don't believe that's a very meritorious way of doing things. I would like a meritorious system, an organic system where women come forward by themselves, which I'm sure will happen once this system is in place and has run for 20, 30 years. The organic growth will begin.
Fair enough. We will leave it at that. Dr. Sujata Seshadrinathan, co-founder and director digital marketing of Basis Fund Services. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on News 9.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me over. It was a nice opportunity to express my opinions. Thank you.
Thank you.